The story starts with a talented pastry chef pursuing his lifelong dream of winning a prestigious pastry competition. However, as he attempts to present his creation to the judges, disaster strikes. His masterpiece crashes into him, resulting in his untimely demise, leaving him with the crushing feeling that he never accomplished his dreams. Just as despair sets in, a mysterious girl's voice reassures him that he's being given a second chance in a different world. She informs him that his new name in this new realm will be Pastry Mill Mortelme, and so, his unexpected adventure in this alternate world begins. As Pass, a 9-year-old, practices with his father, it's clear that he's been living as the son of field suzerain Lord Casserole for 9 years now. His upbringing has been shaped by his military hero father, his kind mother, and his 5 older sisters. During their practice session, Pass's mind starts to wander towards thoughts of sweets, causing him to lose focus and ultimately be defeated. Just as they finish, head retainer Fevel approaches with both good and bad news. The good news is that the bean fields are expected to yield a significant harvest this year, and it seems that Pass's predictions have proven accurate. Fevel delivers the bad news, explaining that attempts to eliminate bandits in the country of Reeds have failed, and some stragglers from the bandit group are now heading in their direction. Pass realizes the imminent threat. If the bandits reach their village, they could devastate their fields and undo all their hard work. Fevel informs them that the bandits will arrive in 2 months, with their group consisting of 50 men, while the village can only muster 30. Seeing the determination in Pass's eyes, Fevel believes that Pass is beginning to understand his destiny as the future suzerain lord. Pass solemnly swears to protect his dream of creating a land of sweets and make the bandits regret their choice. Fevel suggests to Lord Casserole that a talented child like Pass might possess the ability to use magic and become the savior of the land. Upon their return home, Casserole discusses the situation with his wife and daughter, and they initially express concerns about Pass being too young for the sanctification ceremony, which is typically reserved for those aged 13 to 15. However, Casserole argues that Pass is exceptionally bright and excels in swordsmanship, even among older children. His mother and daughter eventually change their minds, realizing that Pass must be perfect as he represents their family. As they prepare Pass for the ceremony, he can't help but feel embarrassed because they are dressing him in women's clothes. 3 days later, as Pass and his father prepare to leave the village, Pa's friends come to see him off. Casserole instructs Fevel to take care of things during their absence. Using teleportation magic, they arrive in the capital city. Pass is filled with excitement and surprise as he takes in the bustling crowds and the tempting array of products like brown sugar and fruits. His curiosity about sweet things is piqued, and he can't help but wonder about the delightful treats he might find in this vibrant city. Pass's father motivates him by promising that if he successfully completes the sanctification ceremony, he'll buy him whatever he desires. Pass's eyes light up when he spots some apples, thrilled to see them in this world. His father corrects him, explaining that these are bankas, a rare fruit that primarily grows in the north and is seldom seen in markets. Pass excitedly shares his desire to cultivate bankas in their village, making his father think that he's beginning to exhibit the instincts of a suzerain. However, Pass's thoughts are quite different from his father's. While his father considers the village's well-being, Pass is already envisioning the various desserts he can create with bankas. Upon their arrival at the church, they are warmly greeted by the father, who has heard numerous tales of Casserole's dedication to protecting his people. Casserole humbly attributes their safety to both God and his son's wisdom. He surprises the father by expressing his wish for Pass to undergo the sanctification ceremony that very day. Back at home, Josephine, Pass's sister, asks Fevel what true sanctification entails. When Josephine went for her sanctification ceremony in the past, they informed her that she didn't possess enough magic power, so she couldn't proceed with it. Fevel reassures her that in Pass's case, they'll only measure the magic power he possesses. Meanwhile, Pass is locked in a dark room with the father, who provides him with holy water. He's left alone in this dark room for hours. Magic is an innate power hidden within a person, and this ritual is the only way to draw it out. As time passes, 1.5 days have gone by, and Pass is still locked in the room. The father mentions that they can't release him until the radiance subsides. They are surprised by the amount of power concealed within him. Pass starts daydreaming about the bankas and all the sweets he'll create with them, aiming to bring happiness to people's lives and create a world filled with delectable treats. Suddenly, a door opens, and Pass is transported into another dimension where all the mana is concentrated within his body. He hears his father's voice and wakes up to learn that the sanctification ceremony has been successful. The father presents Pass with a script and explains that if he has truly awakened his power, the scripture will hold meaning for him. As father reads the script, we witness a surge of mana surrounding and floating into him. His father congratulates him for successfully completing the sanctification ceremony. The father expresses amazement, mentioning that he has never encountered someone with as much power as Pass in this era. Lord Casserole thanks the father and offers a modest token of his gratitude. In response, the father mentions that the church highly values the generous donation. Later, we see Pass choosing which one of the apples to take home, while the father examines the bag and discovers only silver coins inside. He implies that this amount won't be sufficient to keep his silence about Pass's extraordinary magical power. As time passes, we witness a group of bandits wreaking havoc in nearby villages. They are ruthless, destroying homes, taking lives, and plundering everything in their path. It becomes evident that their boss intends to target Casserole's village next. Back in the village, we see the villagers coming together to build traps and fortifications in preparation for the bandit threat. Lord Casserole is actively involved in guiding the efforts. During this time, Fievel approaches Casserole with grim news. He informs Casserole that the neighboring village in the Knight's Fief of Liptaver has already been attacked by the bandits. Casserole is shocked to learn that it has only been 3 weeks since their return, and the bandits are advancing much faster than expected, potentially arriving before their planned 2-month deadline. Casserole takes charge of the situation and instructs Pass to gather all the leaders from nearby villages, including Cointrev and Glakage. Pass sets out to convey the message, determined to stop the bandits and fulfill his dream of turning the region into a land filled with sweets. Casserole issues orders to the smaller village residents to evacuate their homes immediately and move to the main village. This strategy will help them avoid isolated confrontations and concentrate their defenses. While all of this is happening, Pass is deeply concerned about the shortage of forces. He realizes that, apart from his father and his retainers, they mostly have peasant conscripts who may not be well prepared for combat. Pass starts contemplating a plan to address this dire situation. Suddenly, Pass's friends approach him, offering their assistance and declaring themselves his lieutenants. They acknowledge that Pass will eventually become the next suzerain after his father, and they are ready to support him in this critical time. Pass swiftly formulates a plan and assigns tasks to his friends, Mark and Lumi. He requests them to gather rocks of the appropriate size for throwing and instructs them to be attentive for any distant sounds. If they hear anything, they are to retreat indoors immediately. During the afternoon, Mark and Lumi diligently collect rocks as per Pass's instructions. While they work, they discuss the nature of Pass's newfound magical abilities. Suddenly, Mark hears something unusual and spots the approaching bandits. They rush back to the village to raise the alarm. Inside the village, Marco's father receives the warning and instructs them to stay with Pass. The villagers begin closing the gates, and panic begins to set in among the people. It's at this critical moment that Casserole arrives, encouraging the villagers to unite and confront the bandits. His words embolden the villagers, and they find the courage to stand together and prepare for the impending battle. Casserole informs them that the bandits are expected to attack during the night. He urges everyone to be prepared for the impending assault. Casserole assigns Cointrev to guard the western canal and Glakage to oversee the eastern defenses. Fievel's concerns about the bandits waiting until daybreak due to their unfamiliarity with the area are noted. However, Casserole believes that the bandits, potentially running low on food, will likely attack as soon as possible, even if it means fighting at a disadvantage during the night. Fievel isn't sure and continues to express worries about the fatigue it might impose on their defenders if they remain on alert all night. Casserole values Pass's opinion and seeks his advice. Pass suggests gathering detailed information about the enemy's supplies and forces, emphasizing the importance of understanding the bandit situation thoroughly. Casserole decides to take an aggressive approach by conducting reconnaissance on the bandits. He instructs Fievel to accompany him, leaving Pass in charge of the village's defense during their absence. As they depart, Casserole shares his plan with Fievel, emphasizing a strategy of striking the bandits hard and then withdrawing. Pass efficiently delegates tasks to his friends, Mark and Lumi. He instructs Mark to relay the message to Cointrev, emphasizing the use of arrows as signals to indicate the approaching enemy. Additionally, he assigns Lumi the responsibility of informing Glakage to prepare the arrows for the defense, as they prepare for the upcoming conflict, with Pass as a leader. Casserole and Fievel, on their reconnaissance mission, approach the bandits' base. Using Fievel's magical abilities, they carefully observe the enemy's camp from a safe distance. They make some crucial discoveries. The bandits aren't just ordinary thugs, but seem to be former military soldiers. Furthermore, the bandits possess 5 well-trained horses, number around 70 in total, and are holding some villagers captive as slaves. With this information, Casserole and Fevil decide to launch a surprise attack on the enemy base. Meanwhile, some of the bandits report to their leader that the village they intended to raid appears deserted and the wells have been deliberately filled up, rendering them useless. As they prepare to move toward the main village, Casserole and Fevil launch their assault, catching the bandits off guard. The bandit leader is impressed by their tactics, but Casserole and Fevil recognize that they can't sustain another cavalry charge. They decide to retreat, intending to lead the bandits after them. Their leader tells them not to, but it's too late. At the village, an arrow gets released immediately as they notice the arrival at the distance, and Casserole thinks that may be Pass and thinks he has a trap in his palm since he's comfortable sharing their location. They decide to pass through another route back to the village. The villagers quickly inform Pass about the arrows and the approaching bandits. In response, Pass mobilizes his young troops, directing them to fire stones at the bandits. This tactic successfully slows down the bandit forces, giving Casserole and Fevil the perfect opportunity to charge at them. However, the bandit leader is determined and swiftly catches up to them. He makes a daring dash for the village gate, leaping from the cliff without a bridge and landing safely on the other side. His bandit comrades follow suit, determined to reach him. Once inside the village, the bandit leader skillfully evades every attack thrown at him. He mercilessly begins attacking the weak villagers. A brave warrior steps forward to confront the bandit leader while other bandits find themselves restrained by the courageous children. The bandit leader grows furious and charges toward the children, brandishing his sword. In a valiant act of selflessness, Pass shields the children but sustains a wound to his arm in the process. The bandit leader takes Pass as a hostage, warning everyone not to make any sudden moves. While held captive, Pass notices a man among the bandits with a distinctive facial burn. With quick thinking, Pass utilizes his magical abilities to replicate this facial injury on the other bandits. The bandits are suddenly racked with agonizing pain, their faces contorted in confusion. As they scream in torment, the bandit leader is left wondering about what Pass did to them. Seizing the opportune moment, Marco hurls a stone with precision, striking the bandit leader on the head and rendering him unconscious.